Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream. My name is Denise Hutchins and I'm broadcasting to you from Studio Mikarts. Our charity of the month is Animal Alliance Asia, so please help me, help them, help the animals by simply watching my stream and bringing your friends, because I'll be making a donation at the end of the month based on my unique viewers count. You can also make a donation directly to them by following the link in my About page here on Twitch. It's Wednesday, so that means it's time for illustration. Last week we started a new project. Well, not a new project. We resumed a project that I had been having trouble with last year. And hopefully we can decide on a thumbnail sketch today and then start working on the main big size sketch. So what it is my Summer Gryphon. It's the last Gryphon left in my seasonal Gryphon series. It's sized, the format is a 7x5 half-fold greeting card. These are the sketches that, most of these were from last year that I did. These couple here are from last Thursday's stream. I really like this one, but I want a little bit more variety among the 4 images that go in this series. For the Spring Gryphon, I have a single Gryphon in the image. For the Winter Gryphon, I have a single Gryphon in the image. The Autumn Gryphon, I managed to bring in a whole little flock of Gryphons, and so I would like to have more Gryphons so that at least half are single Gryphons and half are multiple Gryphons. Because it seems kind of lopsided if every other season except for Autumn has just features a single Gryphon on the image. Just something about that doesn't sit right with me. So here's a few more thumbnails that we did last time, incorporating that image that I really liked from last year, but putting it into the corner and allowing some space for other Gryphons to come into the scene. I remember running into a bit of I wanted to say cognitive wall, but that's not exactly right. Just a little hesitation about having the Gryphons against the sky, because these Gryphons are going to be this lazuli, let me look at my notes, lazuli, where'd it go? Here it is. Lazuli bunting, this one. They're bright blue on the top and gray on the bottom. So whether you have a blue sky or a cloudy sky, they're going to blend in, which maybe that's part of the nature of their evolution, why they have those feathers. So today, perhaps we can start with a similar idea, but looking down, maybe looking down on the ground or amongst other sunflowers, something like that. Then these bright blue and gray Gryphons can be against a more yellow and brown background if it's sunflowers. So that's the first idea I've had so far today. Let's try that. That's the whole point of these thumbnail sketches, is just try ideas really quickly. I'm going to leave this notebook open to my left over here so that I can look at it if I need some more ideas. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'll probably use this sketchbook again for, I think this is what I've been sketching my final Gryphon images on for this series. But I don't need it yet, so I'm just going to, I'll put it here on the left side of my desk, out of the way. Alright, here's my little standard drawing kit. Has most stuff that I generally want. You stay right there all night, folder. I'm going to take a second to have another swig of my delicious apple pie smoothie. It's apples, bananas, and all my other nutritiously rich things with apple pie spice in it. It tastes so good. I got the idea from the Spiritual Meal Planner. It's like spiritualmealplanner.com or something. But it's my delicious green smoothie, and I was running late today, so I didn't get to eat until now. But that's why I like these smoothies on the weekdays, because I can just take a drink. I'm getting some food in there, but I don't have to stop everything. I can keep working. Alright. I know my favorite graphite mechanical pencil that I got at the Osaka, I'm pretty sure it was the Osaka Nintendo store. Come on, focus on my cute pencil. Look at this, Celeste. I haven't showed this in a while. If you spin this, the falling stars fall and shoot across the sky. It's so cute. It's my fave. The only thing it needs is an eraser, but that's okay. I have plenty of erasers in my little drawing kit. Okay, let's put these off to this side, and then I can draw more here. I definitely want all of these to... Oh, my drawing kit's trying to run away. Reminds me, I want to put the line in the middle of my... little sketch squares anyway. And that way I know where the halfway point would be when I'm thinking about my composition. So this is about 6 centimeters, so I'll put a little dash every 3 centimeters. And then we'll connect them. I won't bother doing that on the sketches I've already done though. I'll save a little time. What I learned in my illustration courses was it's really important to be mindful of things like the gutter in the book, or this is the fold of the card. You've got to be mindful of that so that you don't put something really important right in there and then it just gets smashed and the viewer can't see it, and it's just so disappointing. As someone who enjoys picture books and stuff, as a kid, I would have books and I'm like, why is the main character's face right in the middle so that it's lost in the middle part of the book? Now that I am a professional illustrator, I want to make sure I don't make anybody else have that sort of experience. It's so frustrating. It sticks with you in not a good way. But on the other hand, in those illustration classes, I also learned that you might have some minor character or something. It's not quite as important, and sort of sacrifice them to the gutter. Because if that illustration is ever printed just as a single piece and not across 2 pages, or isn't folded the way these cards will be folded when I print them, it looks really awkward because you just sort of have this barren line in the middle that doesn't make sense without explaining, oh, it was meant to be a card and be folded right there. So I've been getting better and better at designing so it's not obvious that it was meant to have something affecting the visibility of the middle of the illustration, but also so that when it's printed and folded or whatever, it doesn't look bad in that form either. It's rather tricky. Okay. Oh, I'm done with this too. Excelente. Back to sketching now that I have this nice line in the middle. Just to keep in mind, I don't think any of these were terrible. This butterfly would have been sacrificed, but I'll move my other camera over here to what I'm actually working on. There. Oh, it doesn't see the part that I'm working on. Ah! There. So my idea was, I'm going to have the same kind of thing. Sunflower peeking out of the corner. And this griffin hanging on to it. Maybe the tail is hanging down and you can see this little hint that it's not quite a bird. So many people see my realistic griffins and they just say, oh, what lovely birds. And then it takes them a minute and like, oh, those aren't exactly birds. So by adding a little bit more hint, visual hint, maybe the idea of griffin can come across more quickly. Plus gravity might be holding the tail down anyway, pulling the tail down. I'm already wondering about this because something else I've been trying to avoid is another straight on scene. I'm trying to draw it so we're looking down at smaller sunflowers. I'm not sure if that's actually coming across. It still kind of looks straight on. There's another griffin on this one. And this is why I've been having trouble with this, and I gave up on it last year and decided to just move on to the next one. So it took me so long and I wasn't making any progress and summer was over. Now summer's about to begin, so come on, let's finish this series. Maybe what would help me is if I can find a reference image of sunflowers from top down, just so I can see what that looks like. A field of sunflowers viewed from top down. So let's see what Google image search can give me. Sunflower field viewed from top down. I might have to do bird's eye view or something. Oh, of course it's all really far away. Maybe instead of fields. Yeah, I won't do field because that looks like, you know, a farm. How about just sunflowers viewed from top down? Let's see. Top view of lots of sunflowers. This is beautiful. This might really help me, actually. So here's some of the images I'm looking at. I hadn't really considered making something like this, where it's just a billion sunflowers filling the space, and then I'm adding to that space griffins here and there. I'm going to keep scrolling though, look for more. That one, I'm not sure if that was an actual photo. It looked a little smooth, so it's hard to say. Oh, this is beautiful. Something where there's lots of sunflowers just jammed right next to each other. That might be nice. A little close up, and then we've got griffins inside of each one, harvesting their meals for the day. Well, those are looking really good, so I'm actually going to... This might solve my problem. I feel like I'm trying to do so much with this image, and it's paralyzing me. So let's get something to help me by giving my imagination some fuel. So I'm getting my keyboard out so I can search on my free stock image websites and see if my cursor will show up for me. Thank you. See if there's anything. I like using the free one because then I'm not stepping on any toes. The people who took the photos have said, yes, you are free to use this. Okay, so sunflowers. Let's just see if sunflowers brings up something like that. Hey, it does. Oh wait, but is this a... Oh, okay, I see. So not quite what I'm looking for yet, but definitely already really close. I'm hoping to find one among these free stock images with lots of sunflower heads all jammed together, and it will just be this pattern of sunflowers with the griffins standing on them. Aw, here's a cute one with bees on it. Oh, and here's one of the bee flying from one to another. It's very cute. Sorry I can't show you this as easily. I have my desktop display overlay I could turn on, but it doesn't include this secondary monitor that I'm currently on, so it's can't really show it. Just try to describe what I'm doing, I guess. I'm just scrolling though. Scrolling, hoping to find something like what I was seeing on the Google image search. There's a lot of them with lots of people in them. I just want the sunflowers. Okay, we're getting a little closer. Oh, here's a very, very close-up of a little bumblebee on a sunflower. That's so cute. Oh. Oh, here's a top-down one, but it's like, what is that called? It's taken from a drone, so it's way up high and directly above. Maybe I'll search sunflower top down. It's getting less and less relevant. Eh? That did not work. It gave me way more pictures of humans. Okay, sunflowers. How about bird's eye view? Maybe that will help. Nope, it's giving me just bird's eye view of anything. Darn. But here's that one that seemed really good. So I'll just look at this one. Free download. Save. And close that tab. I'm going to double check my chat to make sure I wasn't ignoring anyone, but there's no one here right now, so all's good there. So I'm like looking around my secondary monitor to see my primary monitor so that I can open this sunflower image. Get it sorted on my screen here with my OBS and there. Everything's all organized. Now I have this image on my monitor to inspire me, to inform me. So I like this idea. Seeing the sunflower, not a top-down view, but just maybe like a 3/4 kind of, just looking down a bit onto the sunflowers. And then we won't have the competition between the blue of the griffins and the blue of the sky. Or the gray of the griffins and the gray of the sky, depending on what kind of sky. This works really well anyway with the rest of the series because it's always been the griffin very close up in the environment. So all you're seeing is the green griffin among the pink sakura blossoms and the white griffins among the red momiji, autumn maple leaves. Same thing with the winter griffin as well, just that one red griffin among the snowy pine boughs. So this, I'm glad I spent the time to look for this image because this helps. It's actually more in tune with the rest of the series while still being slightly different. So there's some variety. So just add sunflowers. They can even just be, I can just randomly. I suppose this is actually better than that image I first liked on Google image search because this has some facing slightly to the side or hanging down a tiny bit. So there's more variety. Put one like right in the middle at the top. I like that. For some reason, I've always liked that. A circle at the top, cut off. There's a fairly wide variety of size for these sunflowers as well, so that's nice too. So they're not all the same size, just like a wallpaper pattern. Instead, it seems a little bit more natural. Some of it, I think, is that they're just going off into the distance, which means they get smaller. They look smaller. They don't actually get smaller. Other ones, it seems like there's just smaller ones and big ones because they're right next to each other, but totally different sizes. It does seem like the bigger ones are always higher up, so maybe they grew first, and that's why they're bigger, because they've been growing for longer. So we'll put some smaller ones down at the bottom, since I'm seeing that. And yeah, the tallest ones are really grand. Really big and grand. There's even some just facing completely away, like this. But they do all seem to be either facing toward the viewer or just to one way. So maybe it's because the sun doesn't necessarily always rise straight overhead. Sometimes it rises a little bit off to the side. So they might be following the sun. Okay, I've got a nice pattern going, but I need some overlapping. There's like a tiny bit of overlapping here, but not very much. So let's draw some being covered by others. Because I don't want it to look like a wallpaper. I want it to look like a natural scene. I'm really liking this. I'm quite liking this. So I feel like this one may be better. This a little bit lower. So this side will be the front of the card. Oh, I just realized you can't even see what I'm doing because I moved this camera. I moved my close-up camera. There, that's better. So move this one down. This will be the front of the card. So this is the main focus. And then the nice part is the recipient of the card hopefully realizes, wait, this goes all the way on the other side, and it opens it up and then gets to see the bonus, the rest of the scene on the other side. I am noticing that I'm avoiding this gutter line here, so let's add something in there. I put this one here on purpose, but let's put another one. I'm looking at the negative space as well. I think this might end up being my final sketch, actually. The second sketch I do today ends up being my final sketch. Maybe making this one bigger, so that there's a star on the back side of the card too. So we've got like a couple stars here, and then we can have a sort of trio. Unless you can include this one, then it's a... Oh, what do you call it? A quartet? So maybe we could have this same sort of looking down griffin. Though I've sketched so much you can't really tell anymore. Oh, maybe right here one could be landing. Yeah. Lazuli bunting landing. See what Google image search has for that. Oh, that's a juvenile. Well, these ones are landed. There's an indigo bunting. I suppose the overall wing shape is about the same. That's a painting. I want a photograph. I just want a reference. What do they look like with their wings outstretched coming into land? And none of these are... Oh, here we go. Here's one. Though it's coming at the viewer. I'm just scrolling along. What? That's an ibis. That's almost as far as you can get from these small little bunting birds. Alright. I guess we'll just use one of these ones from closer up to... So that there's this indigo bunting here. At least the wings are out so I can see what it looks like when the wings are not tucked in by the side. It's not exactly the same bird, but just for this thumbnail sketch, I think that's good enough. So the one wing comes out like this. And there's the head. And this wing comes out and up. Again, I've sketched so much you can't really tell anyway, but... But landing. What about lazuli bunting eating? Here they're eating some berries. It's very cute. Eating sunflower? Maybe they would actually have someone got a picture of it eating a sunflower. That would be awesome. Nope. No pictures of that. I found this bird because supposedly it eats sunflower seeds. Oh, here's my favorite little black-capped chickadee. They're on the sunflower. I guess I'll just use my imagination to place a few more of these little fellows. It's nice. This one is looking down at this one. This one is, well, at least the body is pointing down, and this one can be pointing across. So maybe we can have like a Z shape going on. If this one is looking this way, this one's sort of looking this way, pointing this way. This one can point here, and this one can point this way. I know that was a lot of the word "this" in a row. The griffins will be pointing at one another so that it is sort of a loop. If you follow what they're looking at, you'll end up going in a loop around all the griffins on the page. That's my idea. Maybe this one can be coming into land too. But we're seeing it from behind. So again, it's not actually technically looking necessarily at, we'll call this griffin number 1 at the top, but the body is pointing at it. Though I am remembering lesson from my illustration course, which was it's best to have odd numbers of things. So perhaps we could put a little tiny one in the background here. And this wing is pointing at it too, so it's not like it's disconnected from this group here. That could also help give depth to the scene. These are all about the same size. Maybe this one would be a lot bigger. Seems like it would be closer to the viewer. So we could even have the wings like really big and the body really big. And then this one would be smallest, not including this one way back here. Let's make some notes about that. Biggest / closest. Just put second and second. Third biggest. Smallest. It does feel like it's missing something right here, though. Maybe we can make this sunflower bigger in the corner. I'm gonna have a couple little griffin heads here. Eating the sunflower. Then that way I have the odd number that was very strongly recommended throughout my entire illustration program. Not to me personally every time, but just in general, it always came up. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we've got something going on down here. It felt really blank in this corner. And then we even have depth happening with this one, and probably I'll put an arrow over to these. These three are the closest to the viewer. These two are the second closest, third closest, and this is the farthest away, and therefore the smallest. Aoife's having a dream. She's snorting. These puppies always having dreams all the time. I wonder if this might be better. Just move it over a little bit. I don't know if I'll remember what these arrows mean, but I feel like it's really, really close to the edge here, so it'd be probably better to move it slightly so that there's a little space. So they don't have a tangent. A tangent is where something meets exactly perfectly with the edge of something in a drawing or a illustration. And it's actually visually distracting. Even though, yes, maybe in reality that might happen by accident, but illustrations are completely planned things, so it's important to keep that in mind. So here is, I think I'm gonna go with this. Oh, it doesn't want to focus. This is the paper keeps hitting the body of my camera, so it's hard to hold it here, but there it is. I'm going to just go ahead and go with this. I keep putting off this illustration. It's my own project. There's no client that I need to satisfy, so I finally have a composition that I feel good about. So whether or not it could be better, let's just move forward, because I've been working on this project since last summer, so let's finish it. But although I got started quite late streaming today, I'm going to take my customary 5-minute break now. It's actually 10 minutes later than I would normally take it, but I haven't even been streaming for an hour, so let me put this in the little camera so that while I'm away, it'll be visible over there. And there's no one with me live right now, but if you're watching the recording, you're going to get to enjoy the reason I was late getting started with my stream today, which is I set up some music for my Be Right Back screen so that while I'm gone and my mic is muted for 5 minutes, it won't be surprising when I suddenly start talking again, and it won't be confusing if you think that something happened to the stream. So I had a couple of comments last week about that they forgot that I had gone on break and they worried that there was something wrong with the stream. So this way there will be something playing in the background while I'm gone, and it will just go away when I turn the Be Right Back screen off. It took a little while to get it set up, but I'm very happy that this is something that you can do more easily than it seemed in OBS. So let's try it. I am going to turn on my Be Right Back, mute my mic, and be back in 5 minutes. Hello everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed that BRB BGM. That's literally what I named it in OBS. I hope that that is going to work out well for my break times during streaming. Today was my first time using it, so there might be a little bit more to work out. I think I got the volume how I wanted it, and I didn't realize you could just build the playlist in OBS. You don't have to like make a separate playlist then load that into OBS. OBS, you just can tell it which MP3s to use, and it just has the playlist in there. So it's awesome. It was actually easier than I expected to set that up. But I wanted to test it and make sure that it would work well before I actually started streaming. That's why. Because first you test, you record, because this Be Right Back overlay has the music in it. It doesn't play on my speakers, so I cannot hear whether it's working or not. So I record while it's up, then stop the recording and play the recording, so that doubles the amount of time spent just from that alone, and then of course the time spent adjusting in between. Alright, so we've got this nice thumbnail sketch. I wonder if I can just... I actually got this document holder out recently. It's been in my closet, and I wasn't really using it for anything for a long time, for years. And now, ever since I finally started doing my Vegan Toastmasters speeches, got my first one done last weekend. I'm gonna put my speech notes on it. Oh, Chappie's having a reverse sneeze attack. Good girl. Good girl. I'd never seen a dog do that before until Chappie, even though I'd lived with dogs my entire life. So when we adopted her and she did this, I was like, what is this? Is there something wrong? Is she choking? Turns out it's a dog phenomenon that people have named reverse sneezing. It's basically this snorting. Alright. You're alright. And what I found is... Oh, no. She's not done. It's alright. Good. Good. You feel better? No? You alright now? She's just looking at me. I guess I can show you this poor reverse sneezing pup. You're on camera, smile! She's done. That's what it took to help her out. I've found, and it obviously is not always helpful, but sometimes it seems to help her if I gently pat to the top of her nose, like along her muzzle to her eyes, and gently stroke. Seems to help it calm down. From what I was reading online, there's no real consensus on what this phenomenon is and why it happens, but it doesn't seem to be anything to worry about. So I just figure sneezing is not comfortable, so if this is truly reverse sneezing, it's probably not that comfortable to be snorting away like that. Anyway, what I had been explaining was, oh yes, I have this document holder that I got out that I wasn't using. Now I can use it to put this sketch on. It's got these nice little magnetic bits here. Magnetic magnets. And now I can set this right there. Hooray! Well, you can't see it, but there, you can see this. Haha! There's a sketchbook there. And right in front of me, the thumbnail sketch that I'm going to use. Okay, put my camera back. It's nice having this camera now. And I've always had this camera. This was my original streaming camera. But this one is even better. So having this one available to move around is really nice. But then I'm always having to adjust my camera a bunch, so I don't know. I guess it's a trade-off. Okay, now that I'm ready to move on to the full-size sketch, I'm not going to use this graphite pencil anymore, so I'm going to put that away. And I'm going to get out my template, 10 by 7 template, and my blue marker pen. This is the Le Pen, I think. Yep. Le Pen by Marvy Japan. And center this on the page. That's good. And then draw the outline. I draw the outline with pen instead of pencil so that if I need to erase, the outline doesn't go away. I learned that the hard way when I first thought of doing this. Oh, I can make the template on my page so I can have a little bit of margin to work into or make notes in or whatever. But then I drew it with graphite and when I needed to erase, the outline went away. So I had to remake it. Alright, so I've got the template and I can't remember on previous drawings whether I drew the line down the middle so that I could keep it in mind. I think I'm just going to do it anyway. Whether or not I did it for other projects, I feel like I want it for this project. Got me a nice ruler here. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's the 10, so this should be about at 5 inches. Actually, I'm going to do it this way. Doing it the other way around, it was kind of hanging off and tipping off of the edge of my sketchbook. If I do it this way, then it won't do that. Alright, about at 5 inches. And flip it over, do the same thing at the top. Inches. Now just connect these two lines. Boom. So this is the front half of the card. This is the back half of the card. Greeting card, seasonal greeting card. That's what these illustrations are for. Put my ruler back away. I don't think I'll need it again. But it's just in this little reused tin. Reused candy tin. It's a long cylindrical. Has my rulers in it. This gigantic Hello Kitty pencil. Some straws for using with the, if you wanted to do air, like blowing on watercolor to get drip effects. And it has my magic wand. My witch's wand is in there too. Okay, now I'm moving to my blue colored pencil. Mechanical colored pencil. Even though I've decided what I want to draw, I still feel hesitant about it for some reason. You've just gotten in the bad habit of being hesitant about this project. I suppose I am considering whether I should draw the sunflowers first. Like in their entirety. And then draw the griffins on top. Just as I did when I sketched this thumbnail in the first place. It is way easier to just draw the sunflowers as they should be if there was nobody around, and then draw the griffins on top. The main reason not to do that is that if I get so much colored pencil onto the page that it won't erase nicely, then it will be very hard to see what I was trying to draw. That's why I'm a little hesitant about that. Let me sit for a moment. I'll have some more of my tasty green smoothie. Green apple pie smoothie. It literally has a green apple in it. It has a green apple and a yellow apple in it. Think about what I want to do. There's another option I could take as well. Let me take a glug of this first. Okay. Smoothie came out so good today. 2 bananas, 2 apples, 2 servings of greens, 1 serving of beans, and apple pie spice, plus some other stuff. Oh, excuse me. Put in hemp hearts and creatine. I think that's everything. No, soy milk too. Okay. So yeah. Let's... Oh, I can't get this to... I'm trying to move my image up. My reference image. There we go. And let's zoom in on the image. As I want to see some of the details. I'm not drawing the scene based on the exact placement of the sunflowers in this reference photo, but I would like to get sunflowers focused on that match those in my sketch. Here's one I can use for this corner. These 2 little griffin heads popping in the corner here. And some petals, I call them petals, but we learned the other day that they're actually flat flowers. Anyway, they overlap. Other ones are growing with little spaces in between each other. Some of them are thinner, or at least they're sort of curving in. I want to try to capture this. I can't think of a word to describe what it is. It's sort of the feeling of organic, that organic feeling. And it's not quite the same flower petal each time. Let's make this one a big bunch of them real close to each other. All overlapping. And it's important to see the overlap because this area should be darker, because with the overlap, that section becomes darker because it's blocking more light. Instead of one or the other together, they block more light. Yeah, let's keep it going. But here, let's have a big gap as if one got plucked out. Now, what is the inside part of the flower? Well, it's interesting. The sunflower is not a single flower. It's like a big flower made out of small flowers. This one is pretty good. Yes, I can see what the middle looks like fairly well. I'm not trying to make this a completely naturalistic scene, but I definitely want it to be recognizable. And it has that interesting spiral effect as it spirals down into the middle. Oh, laundry's done. Maybe during my next break I'll take those out of the washer and put them in the dryer. Seeing if I can get this spiral effect. It's hard because I have my reference here. I'm going to put my reference to the side so that I can move this sketchbook here. Here and there are these little yellow dots. I don't know exactly what they are from this image. Some are closer to each other, some are farther apart. But it's just on this outside area. And then as the middle it goes in, it kind of looks like it goes into, it becomes like a black hole or something. So like around here is where it gets really dark. Of course, we can just depict that with watercolor once we get to that point. Yeah, I think along here I'll just use... Sarah, hello! Thank you for joining me! Yay, thank you so much! 9-month subscription! Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you! How are you? I'm so glad to see you. So glad you could join me. You're livening up the stream with your presence. Oh, okay. I was so excited to see you. I forgot what I was saying. I'm going to just use a sponge texture with a lot of watercolor to get this sunflower texture in, so I'm not going to worry about drawing that line by line. Now that I'm looking at this sunflower, I'm going to add more of these funny sunflower petals. that are technically flowers, flat flowers. Because they seem to grow in a couple layers. They're not just overlapping side by side. There seem to be some that grow out behind the others. Although this is making this part of the picture a lot bigger and taking up a lot more space than I imagined. It's all right though. Oh, I hope it goes well for you. Monday. Do you have to do anything to get prepared that you don't mind sharing in chat? And that's totally okay about the letter, because I also decided it's just too much to try to do a letter a day anymore. I did my best, but that was too ambitious a goal. So I decided to let it go back to being something where I'm just doing it for fun when I have time. Let's do another big one here. Oh, and you said you started shots. Was that daily thing you have to do? Again, if it's TMI or you don't want to share, you don't have to say. By now, you're surely over your fear of injections. What even is time? I know, right? By the end of the day for the past week or so, I'm like, why? Why is it already the end of the day? I just can't get myself to stop doing what I'm doing, and I end up late for bed every day, and I've got to quit doing that because I keep ending up suffering the next day from lack of sleep or poor sleep or what have you. So I'm feeling a lot better today though, so hopefully this is the fresh start I needed to get back on my sleeping schedule. I mean, I'm mostly on my sleeping schedule. I just keep getting to bed late. 30 minutes late, 20 minutes late. Yesterday I was on 45 minutes late. Ugh. And I can feel it. I can feel it when I don't get enough sleep. Well, that works too. Strength and courage. Yeah, that's good. There's always going to be scary stuff, whether it's shots or some other thing, so maybe that's for the best, because you can use strength and courage for other things too. Okay, one sunflower down. Oh. Let's add some more. I'm going to add the main ones that the griffins are standing on first. And then add more, because this one ended up way bigger than I was figuring. So we'll see about fitting the others in. I'll start from the biggest to the smallest, because we have this big one here. This will be the next size as far as perspective is concerned. Then this one, and this one. So let's go to this sunflower. Yes, this will be the next biggest. Gotta remember, I have to leave room for one here, and one here. Maybe if I draw just the circle part, the middle part first, that will help me. I don't know how well my little camera's capturing. So I'm drawing way over here, and even this camera can't see what I'm drawing, but hopefully, I know I'm drawing over here. It will be more interesting to see. Yeah, speaking of sleep, I can feel it even now. The lack of sleep, it's a little harder than usual to focus on both drawing and live streaming. Another reason for me to get it together, put in a little willpower if necessary, get myself to sleep on time tonight. Because I always feel so great when I get enough sleep. So great. Everything goes smoothly. Even when there's a bump in the road, I'm able to smoothly overcome it. Now this one, I wanted to have angling away. It's in this reference image, that's what I'm seeing. Most of them are facing toward the viewer, but some are really angled off to the side. Ah, I suppose that means you didn't feel refreshed after the nap. But you could have still gotten some rest. In Pokemon Sleep, there's a sleep tip that says, I think it's in the lightest stage of sleep, your brain is still active, but your body is sleeping. So it feels like you're awake, but your body's actually asleep. So it might have still done you a little good, even if your brain didn't get rested. There's that hope. Alright, I'm liking this. And then this one, I had drawn this one quite big. Almost like a sun, actually. Not just a sunflower, but a sun shining down. Let's make it a little smaller so it adds to that sense of perspective. So make it smaller. Although I do have it growing up taller, so So we'll put it right here. Let's have it this big. That's good enough. And then we had one way out in the background here. Small, teeny tiny. So we have a little teeny tiny griffin. I mean, they're all the same size, but this one's way off in the distance. So there are our main sunflowers. Time to add the petals and stuff. So we've got this circle in the middle. It's a different size depending on the sunflower. I'm not sure exactly what determines it. But we don't have to worry about it too much anyway because the griffins are going to be on top of there eating the seeds. This one is an angle. This one way far over here. Also at an angle. Okay, time for some petals. Petal. I mean, I call them petals, but they had an official name. Official scientific name. I'll have some of the petals sort of messed up looking here. Someone landed on them and smushed them a bit. But these ones over here are okay. Oops, I think I'm drawing a little bit too far down. This is the edge here. Here's another gap. One's missing for some reason. And then we'll continue on the other side. Just trying to give natural looking variety. Oh, Sarah will be right back. So I will explain about the petals when Sarah gets back. I'll have to look it up again. I don't remember exactly. Then I can look up what they're called. My own satisfaction. This is a real thin one. I have a couple little thin ones at the bottom. Whatever reason, who knows why. Well, they're gonna get bigger again. Okay, we made it around once, but we've got this sort of double layering effect that I see. It's not necessarily that every petal has a second petal behind it, but let's just add a few. Especially want to add some over here where we've got the crease of the card. So it'll be nice to have some transitioning onto the back side. So that it's not all, everything on this side is only on this side, everything on this side is only on this side. Let's have some stuff crossing between front side and back side. Alright, that's good. Keep looking at my watch because my back is killing me for some reason today. Probably because of the lack of sleep, actually, now that I say that. That's probably literally the reason why. Okay, good. Next one. Doesn't really matter, I think, which one I draw first. I'll do this one so I'm not smudging. Since it's colored pencil, basically, it's not as easy to smudge, but just in case, let's start over here and then... Because if I start on the left side, then when I move on to the right side, since I'm left-handed, my hand will be sitting on what I just drew. This time I'm going to draw just a little circle around the outside for the petals to aim for. So this one, I think it's fine. It's not very symmetrical around the outside, but the farther in the background these go, I think the more symmetrical they'll look just because you're losing detail by going farther and farther into the background. Oops, I'm drawing too far in again. Oh, and I made this too far in too. adding some weird shaped ones so that it's not all way too symmetrical. Don't need it to look perfect. We want it to look organic. Yeah, this is where I drew them too far in again. Let me erase that so I keep getting tripped up by that. Guess I'll clean up the rest of my circles too, just in case this is the second one that's happened to me for. Although the rest of the circles look pretty clean, so maybe I don't need to worry about it for them. Alright, I think I got all these. Oh, nope, there's still more eraser pieces. Okay, now? Nope, there's still some more. Ah, I see what's going on. Dang, I'm gonna have to redraw this. I drew all these petals. I mean, whatever they're called. They're not petals. That circle I drew makes it too small. The petals need to be way bigger. So my brain is not fully full. I need more sleep. For some reason, there's a tapping sound as I erase. Ah, yep, it's true. My desk got pushed back a bit so that it's hitting up or something. Either the desk got moved or this little storage rack behind it got moved, and there. It was just, as I erased, it was shaking the desk. Then the desk was tapping the storage rack, which was making my container full of rulers and things jangle a bit, and it was distracting me, so that's what that was. Should be fixed now, though. Maybe I should just swipe this instead of trying to pick up every little piece. I'll try to get the big pieces, and then I'll just use my swipey brush to swipe the rest into the trash can. It's almost time for break. I don't think it'll take effect during the stream, but I'm going to take some ibuprofen during that break since my back is bothering me way more than normal. And I stretched all good and everything during the last break, and I had only been sitting for, I think, 45 minutes by then. Of course, I had been sitting a little bit before that, getting my Be Right Back music set up, so maybe that was it as well. Okay. Yeah, I guess I can't do the circle idea I had, or at least I need to draw it way bigger. Let me zoom out. I think if I compare the petals to what the inside looks like, then that will help me. Yeah, I really got it right here. Here, actually, seems like these petals are too small. But do I really want to redraw that one as well, or just leave it and let it be a weird one? I'm not on any deadline for this, but I'm not seeing any sunflowers with petals this short. for how big this center is. So let's redraw it. Let's go ahead and redraw it. It'll be worth it in the end. I don't want to do something now that I don't want to skip doing something now just because it's redoing something I already did once. And then later regret it and you can't take it back and it be the thing that bothers me about the piece, and I just cannot look at anything else other than these sunflower petals that are way too short. I've had that happen in the past. I can't actually point out a specific instance, but it's definitely happened to me in the past, which is why I'm not going to do that now. Only to just get it right in the sketch. That's the point of the sketch, to get the details right. So that when I transfer it to my watercolor paper, I just gotta focus on the watercolor. All right, I'm using my kneaded eraser. It's the biggest eraser I have in this. Well, I have this Sakura one, but this one's working really nice, so let's use a kneaded eraser to start over. Make these petals big enough. They need to be at least the same distance from the edge to the center. And a lot of these in the reference image are actually longer than that. Of course, it depends on the sunflower breed. Those sunflowers that grow like 12 feet tall, I don't think their petals are as long as from the edge to the center, but these ones are. And since this is the reference I'm using, this is what I'm going to try to emulate. I'm getting that circle for the middle part where the seeds appear. Actually, let's look up the parts of a sunflower. I want to see specifically there's a lot of different ones, so I'm just seeing. So I don't want like a little kid one like this. Flower, stem, roots. That's for really young people who are literally just learning the basic parts of a plant. I want the more scientific. Oh, here we go. This one looks good. Nice and simple, but it has those more specific parts and then I can reference them properly. So, the middle part is the disc, and it has florets. So these are called disc florets. So they're little teeny tiny flowers filling up this space. Then the things that we generally would call petals are actually ray florets. And those are those flowers that we read about last week, that instead of growing in a symmetrical round shape like we expect most flowers, they grow flat. So it's called a ray floret. Inflorescene. I don't know what that is. Inflorescence? There's another one down here calling it inflorescence. Interesting. It's almost like inflorescene just means all of these petals ranged around the outside, and that means inflorescene. Maybe if I actually go to this website, it'll explain it in more detail. I love learning as I'm making... What is this? No. It's so annoying when you go to a website and you have to like click past a million different pop-ups like, give us your email, let us send you notifications, let us use your location. Thing after thing. just let me read your article. I just want to learn from you. All right, here we go. I want to know about what is this inflorescing. Where's the part that talks about inflorescing? Maybe if I search the word. Find in page. See if something comes up. Oh. The sunflower species belong to the Asteraceae family. The Asteraceae are the most numerous flowering plant families. The plants in this family have an inflorescence capitulum. The capitulum is flat in sunflowers. Flowers are known as florets. Okay. So I guess that just means this outside ring. I have to dig deeper to figure out what this is. Inflorescing, I guess, is that outside ring. Maybe if I just go to Wikipedia, it'll actually... Wikipedia, there we go. My fave. Oh, Sarah is back. Welcome back! I'm just looking up the parts of the sunflower so I can tell you about it, and also so I can call them the right thing when I'm drawing. Let me see what you had to say. 15 minutes. Oh. They gave you the runaround? What the heck? Haven't you been getting it for a long time? Why? Did you... I hope you're actually able to get somewhere in the end. Or is it like they're going to have to contact the doctor, get approval that way, and now you're just playing the waiting game? I've had that happen before with my medication. It's like, come on, I have the same thing all the time. Let's just, come on. I'm going to have another satisfying glug of my green smoothie. Oh, it's a bit to type out. Well, it is my break time. So maybe I'll go on break. And you can decide if you want to... You don't have to put it in the chat if you don't want to. You could put it... you could just message me directly if you want. This sounds like an interesting story, though, already from what you just said. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to take my break. Oh, okay, you'll text me. Okay. And then I can look at it after the stream. Alright, now I'm going to take my 5-minute break. Ooh, Sarah, you can enjoy my new Be Right Back music that I spent an extra half an hour today getting on, as I was half an hour late starting it. I'm going to mute my mic, turn on my Be Right Back scene, and be back in 5 minutes. everyone, I'm back. Yes, Sarah, I saw that I got your messages, so I'll take a look at those after I'm done with this stream. I get little previews on my watch, and it did seem like I was following it for the little previews that I had, so I'm very interested to see what your wild story is. It is so complicated sometimes. I just have one medication, and several times a year I have issues between getting a doctor approval or just getting a refill, or the difference between just getting a 1 supply but I want a 3-month supply or whatever. So yeah, summary insurance is dumb. I don't think I'm going to be too surprised. It's just so complicated. I wish it didn't have to be that complicated. Okay, so what I was looking at was how sunflower petals are not petals. And I was hoping, oh look, here's that swirly arrangement that I was trying to get. And it's hard. This says generally each floret is oriented toward the next by approximately the golden angle, 137.5 degrees, producing a pattern of interconnecting spirals, which is what I tried drawing here in the corner. It's got a freaking mathematical equation to describe. Oh, you can't see it. There it goes. There's a mathematical equation to describe, it says, the pattern of florets in the head of a sunflower. But it doesn't really talk about... Oh, here's that inflorescence thing that I was trying to figure out. What in the heck is inflorescence? Here we go. This is what inflorescence is. In a flowering plant, a group or cluster of flowers arranged on a stem that is composed of a main branch or system of branches. Oh, okay. So I've drawn some other flowers like that before. Just recently I drew something to do with... Okay. Where you have one stem, but instead of it just ending with a single flower, you've got multiple flowers coming out. That's what sunflowers are. And so with the thing with the petals is... I'm trying to find it. Okay, here's the description that I read last week, I think. What is often called the flower of the sunflower is actually a flower head. So this whole thing is the flower head, made of numerous small, individual, 5-petaled flowers, aka florets. The outer flowers, which resemble petals, are called ray flowers. So the petals are actually flowers. They're just flat. They grow out flat. And then, blah, 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 the spirally arranged flowers in the center are called disc flowers, and they mature into fruit, aka sunflower seeds. So, that's what it is. Your comments are so great. Nobody said art was going to need complex math. It's all thanks to Leonardo da Vinci. His incredible combinations of math. No, I'm sure there's plenty of other past thinkers that math, science, and art all go together. That's why I've always thought it was odd that these days people often think of art and science as polar opposites, opposite sides of the coin, and to me it's like they're kind of the same thing. I mean, they're not the exact same thing. You know, there's air and water, for instance, but air and water behave in a similar way. They have similar functions. They're both necessary for life, all this other stuff. So Anyway, I'm having some more of my smoothie. Apple pie. Delicious apple pie spice. So yeah, I have relearned again since last week ray florets and what was it called? Spiral floret? Disc. Ray flower, disc flower. I'm just gonna write that. Then as the streams go on, as I'm drawing this, I'll be able to look at my note right here. Ray flower. This is why I love having margins, even just for fun stuff. Disc flower. This is helping keep me awake too. I'm not tired, but my brain just feels not as energized as usual. So this helps me. This helps energize me. I want some more smoothie. That's probably another thing not helping with my sort of, how do I describe it? It's not lethargy or anything. It's just like running at 75% instead of 100. Anyway, another thing that might be keeping me down at 75% is the fact that I was so slow getting going today that normally I have had my smoothie by around lunchtime. Instead, it's the middle of the afternoon and I've still got like a third of it left. Well, maybe a fourth by now. All right, so what I decided was the ray flowers, my notes. The ray flowers should be as long as the distance from the edge of the disc to the middle of the disc. And having decided that, I realized that I had not drawn these nearly long enough. So, I kind of want to use my ruler just to get an idea. Yes, that's what it is. It's just a low battery of the brain. That's it. That's it. My body actually feels fairly energized. Not bad. But the brain is like just sort of stuttering along. Okay, it's about 3 centimeters, give or take, about 3 centimeters. So I'm just going to make a little mark 3 centimeters out, which makes it way bigger than I thought. It takes it all the way down past this line. Let's put a little mark there. And way up here too. There. Maybe that'll work better than... I made the whole circle around this disc to measure the ray flower. The ray flowers by. That's so cool. I'm going to be able to call them that from now on when I see them. I'm like, oh wow, look how big those ray flowers are on the sunflower. Anyway, this way, I have these markers in the cardinal directions, sort of, but I'm not trapped by them so that I can make it look organic. Some of these sunflowers, they're just like flopping over like this. They're not all perfectly open and straight. Some of them are really like scraggly looking with little their ray flowers are like kind of wilty looking. So that way I can add such things, but also make them long enough. Didn't you use sunflowers for art before? I'm thinking. Because I knew that there was something about them last week. I mean, before last week. I've definitely drawn sunflowers last week. But I imagine that I have, because why else would I have known that? I mean, other than the fact that I just like scientific knowledge. Postcard. I can't remember. I'm going through my memories. I can't remember anything specific. Not saying that I didn't, though. Just like I said, I somehow knew that there was something odd about sunflowers. Now I'm just trying to think, is there something I've forgotten about? Yeah, today, man. And it's Wednesday. I'm like, it doesn't feel like it should be Wednesday. Because I've had such a weird week. I really gotta get it together. Get to bed on time. Banish this odd brain condition that I currently have. Mind condition. It's not really brain condition. Brain is the physical. Mind is the... Oh, my mind is not working. There's a word. There's a word I'm trying to think of. The consciousness. Mind is consciousness. Which science has no explanation for. Nobody knows how consciousness comes to be out of matter. Until we figure that out, we won't have real AI. Everybody talks about AI these days. I use AI. I've been using that Suno site to make songs. It's so fun, but that is not AI. Not what we were promised in science fiction. We'll never have true AI until we discover the secrets of consciousness. I wonder if these sunflowers with kind of crumpled looking ray flowers, I keep having to look over there, is because they're growing out new ones. Because it said something about they grow out... There was something that talked about it. Where'd it go? It talked about how they grow out in a certain way. Oh well. Can't find it. Back to drawing. Not too much distraction, me. Oh, you meant half brains. Well, I thought you meant harebrained, like, you know, people... I mean, it's not a very kind term because it makes light of the intelligence of the hare, the animal, but harebrained means, like, scatterbrained, I think. So that's what I thought you meant. This is actually great that these are ending up larger than I thought based on my thumbnail sketch, because we're getting a lot more overlap than I had in the thumbnail sketch, and I didn't want it to look like a wallpaper where every item is perfectly separated from one another. I want it to look like a real scene and you're just viewing it off into the distance. So this is great. It's not turning out how I imagined, and that's a good thing in this instance. Someone? Oh. I thought maybe one of my two puppies were outside waiting for me to let them in, but it was just Aoife stretching and her claws went across the floor. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Let's look it up. I still have Wikipedia up on my phone. Let's look it up. I love doing this. This is so nice. When I'm doing an illustration, sometimes I start getting tired, and it's so nice to have these little minor interludes to just refresh myself, especially on a day like today. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, here's a, like, Looney Tunes. Bugs Bunny. The harebrained hypnotist. But I don't think this talks about what is... The title, instead of employing the usual hair as in the animal versus hair as in the stuff that grows out of your head, pun, is standard spelling for the expression that indicates thoughtlessness or recklessness. Elmer Fudd permanently goes back to his regular design, starting with this cartoon. Interesting. I want to know about the saying. Tell me about the saying. I might have to go to a dictionary. Maybe if I just search harebrained and see what... Let's just... Harebrained etymology. Ah, here we go. You wrote a typo and then it was an accidental typo for a different thing, I guess. That's funny. Now this one says, so this is from vocabulary.com. The 16th, oh, let me start over again. Oh, it's typed as a single word. That's why it wasn't coming up on Wikipedia, I bet. All right. The 16th century harebrained came from the earlier harebrain, giddy or reckless person, from the common impression of a rabbit or a hare as being nervous or skittish. Oh, okay. Oh, wait. But that was the earlier one. Hold on. I've got to go in to get the... A dictionary of insults. I bet that exists. I have a humor book. I don't know if I can see it from here. But it's about... It's actually something about that. Oh, I'm trying to see if I can find it. It has one of the Marx brothers on it. Like the... I think Groucho Marx. He's the most famous one. Oh, where is it? I'm standing up now to try to find it. I can't see it. Oh, it was called The Art of the Insult, I think. Oh, then Taika is harebrained. Okay, so I clicked into the actual page instead of that little blurb. This is what it says. Something that's harebrained is reckless or foolish. Sometimes harebrained ideas work out just fine. Several people have survived trips over Niagara Falls in a barrel, for example. The heck? Okay, so harebrained wouldn't have worked. Harebrained doesn't mean, well, it means foolish, but it doesn't mean empty-headed. It just means reckless. It's a reckless kind of foolish. Right now, I've got an empty brain. Interesting. It goes on further to explain, if you have what you think is a great idea, but someone else calls it a harebrained scheme, it means they think you'd be a fool to try it. For example, your harebrained plan to ride your bike on the highway is bound to get you in trouble. And then there's that 16th century one that comes from harebrained, which means giddy or reckless. Cool. I love learning. I'm learning all the time. Learning so much on my own stream. And I learned so much about OBS today when I was setting up the background music. I'm adding some more of these larger ones that seem to move to the back. As new ones grow, I think they grow out of the front, and that's why these front ray flowers are seemingly always shorter. Well, some of them are the same, but I've never seen any, I'm not seeing any in this reference image where the ones in the front are longer than the ones in the back. Good. This looks way better than it did before. Sorry, you can't really see very well because of the blue pencil, but... Okay, now we're going to move on to this one again. Let's do the same thing with the ruler. So from the middle to the edge, it's about 2.5 centimeters on this one because it's smaller. So we're going to put a mark at 2.5 so that I'm sure to draw these ray flowers. Hey, I didn't have to look that time. Draw the ray flowers far enough out so that it looks proportionally accurate for this species of sunflower, whatever it is. I don't know what species it is. It's not those giant ones. It's also not those really small. I feel like they're kind of the wild ones that I see out on the trails or stuff. They usually have a teeny tiny little disc and then bigger petals. This is kind of in the middle in this reference. Oh, making progress. A little bit of progress every day on this. I'm so glad that I got to a point today where I can finally start on the final sketch, because last summer I was just so stuck on this project. It really was refreshing looking up that stuff on the vocabulary.com. Ah, so nice. Alright, I won't bother drawing any ray flowers. I had a look. I won't bother drawing any here. This is going to be watercolor, so it'll just all be yellow here, basically. Don't need to add a whole bunch of details in this little tiny area. So we'll just move on to this spot. But keeping in mind, they need to grow all the way out to this point. Let's have this one have a little bit. I don't know if they're wilty or maybe they're still just growing out and so they haven't reached full bloom. I bet that's more what it is, because it doesn't look like satin dry in the reference image. They just look all thin and wrinkly, so maybe it's more like the young flower. Maybe something happened to this one and it had to start growing some more, and that's why there's a whole bunch of thin ones on this side. I found a way to get around that. I have 2 sets of sheets and we rotate through them. Try to change them every week. What I do is, when I'm changing the sheets to the new sheets, I just put the old sheets in the laundry hamper specifically for the sheets. And then the next week, I wash those right before changing the bed. And then I never have to fold sheets. It's so great. I feel like a genius because I hate folding the fitted sheet, especially the big ones for a shared bed. It's such a pain. So when I figured that out, I was like, yes, I never have to deal with that again. Just always wash them right before changing the sheets. So I used to fold them. It's to diligently wash and fold, and then I was like, I'm just getting them out again anyway, and I have to fold them again. Haha. Found a way around it. Sweet, another sunflower done. Ah, it looks so much better. The ray flowers that I drew before were way too short. They weren't even half as big as they needed to be. So this one is angled, so it's going to be a little bit different in the way we draw this. So I'm going to go back to my sunflower field reference image so that I can see what it looks like when they are angled away. What does the perspective look like for these ray flowers? So I'm just sort of, oh, here's one. Here's a good one. It's not quite the same angle as this, but you can really see, it's kind of like this. You can really see that nice perspective. Zoom in on that one and use this one as my guide, because like the measuring from the center to the edge of the disc isn't going to help at all for when you're looking at it this turned on its side like this. So something I'm seeing right away is that they curve in front of the disc. Almost looks like claws, like cat claws. And then we're seeing some layering, some of the ones from behind. Then down here, the disc seems to take precedence and sits on top of the ray flowers instead. Ah, because we're coming around to here, you can really see them sticking out, the what was it called? Disc flowers. The disc flowers sticking out here. In fact, I'll draw some. I don't want to draw too many details, but just these ones on the edge I think is nice because this is not a smooth edge. You can really see the disc flowers sticking out because of this angle. Since I'm going to be drawing a griffin on top of this anyway. But at least I'll remember that's how it's supposed to be for whatever is still visible once I draw the griffin on top. Now we're seeing some on the other side. This is interesting. Some of them are actually sticking really far forward, so it almost looks like these. But others are angled so far back, it's just a little curve of an edge that you can see. But this is that organic look this is why I always use reference image if I can find it, because I would never think of all these wonderful shapes on my own. Certified organic. Yep. Certified organic shapes. Coming back to more of these sickle-shaped ones. And I'm not drawing the exact flower that I'm looking at, so I'm adding more to fill in. Looks pretty good though. Yeah, as they get smaller, because they're getting smaller because of perspective, they get faster to draw. Okay, so this one's the next smallest. It's another forward-facing one. So I'll move my reference image back to one that's kind of like that. Here's one. I need my ruler again. From about the center to the edge. Yep, and it's smaller, so it's down to 2 centimeters-ish. It's a very sketchy circle, so it's not necessarily precisely 2 centimeters. I'm glad I switched which flower I was looking at, because this one has really evenly spaced ray flowers. It's a very symmetrical one. So it can look different from the others, which makes the scene more interesting. Oh, poor fly. Wow. It did not think it would meet that kind of fate. Chaos levels? Why do you say chaos levels, though? What's going... something going on? Or is it just the same sort of mind stuff that we're both, if we put our brains together, we'll have a full brain. Oh. Who does that? Well, I guess you do. I've never heard of such a thing. I think it's nice actually for this one that is perfectly centered in the middle of the illustration to also have the most symmetrical and pristine ray flowers. Maybe I'll just call them rays. It's kind of a mouthful to be constantly calling them ray flowers. They're not petals, so I want to be accurate. I'll just call them rays. It's a sunflower after all. Oh, lovely. Okay. Whew. I can't wait until my ibuprofen starts working because my lower back is killing me, and once again I keep looking at my watch. We've got 12 minutes to go. Hang in there, me. Having a little more smoothie. Oh, that's an interesting series of events. A misunderstanding? That's not exactly the right word. What is it when you mistake someone for someone else? There's a word for that. Well, get the tape and put it outside. I don't know what to do either. You're stuck with a fly under tape. You've got yourself into an interesting predicament. I can say that much. I drew this so small. I don't really... all in this reference photo, all the ones that are as small as this are blurry because they're so far in the distance. Here's one I can use. This, because this is also another one angled to the side. And I don't want to use this same one as reference because then it will weirdly look like it's just repeated the same exact flower. It doesn't make any sense. So here's another one, similar angle. Actually, I like this one above it even better. Yes, I'll use this one above it. Okay. Yeah, and since it's at an angle, it's hard to use. I'll just try to make the petals look long enough. This one's petals aren't as curly as this one, the larger side angled one. But you can, there's really a lot of, not perspective, what is it called? Foreshortening. There's a lot of foreshortening going on with these rays. But then you can also see that back layer, and they're not quite as foreshortened. If you're hearing some snoring, that's Aoife. That's pretty good. Define these a little bit more. Got a little sketchy over here, like in a literal sense, not in a suspicious sense. Ah, and my lead is too short, so I've got to click a new lead out. Boom. Okay, I've got all the rays drawn, and I don't think I need, other than on these angled ones, I don't need to draw too many details on the discs because the griffins are going to be standing on these. But it would be good, I think, and also because there's only 7 minutes left, so I don't want to start on something as big as the griffins. And by big, I mean it takes a lot of cognitive power, and I need the reference images and everything. Instead, I am going to focus on adding stems and leaves to the scene. So, as usual, I'll start with what's closest to the viewer, which is right here. I'm not sure how much we'll see, but we might see like a leaf here and leaf here. So I'm just looking for some area that in this reference photo that shows the leaves nicely. Oh, here's a great one. Here's a great one. Zoom in on this little fellow. Yes, I'll use this. So you can't really see, I don't think you would really see the stem here, but let's draw a couple leaves perkily reaching up as they do on these sunflowers. there's one, and another one on the other side. Once again, it's so great to look it up instead of just leaving it to my imagination, because one leaf is more towards the viewer, so it's shaped like this. The other one is more like this, even though they're on either side of the stem. So this one looks much flatter. You can see a little bit of the other side sticking up, the other side of the leaf here too. There. Yeah, the thing with the stems is they're so much thinner than it seems like they should be for how big the disc is. And I think it would be showing right behind where these rays are, so we'll just leave no stem for this one. This one though, as it comes down, it would eventually show here. And we can draw some leaves coming in. Let's find another one so I'm not drawing the same leaves over. Here we go. Oh, and this one has like a little bite out of it. Somebody came and nibbled on the leaf. A little edge curving up, and then the opposite edge. I'm not sure if this is from the same plant, but this specific area I'm looking at from the reference image has another leaf sticking out toward the viewer right here, and that looks like a great way to fill this space. And we don't have a leaf yet that's coming out toward the viewer, so that'll be something different to look at too. Add variety among the leaves as well. In fact, I'll have it go underneath this one, I think. Which means we will actually erase some of this stuff that we just added. I want to erase it now. There's only 2 minutes left, so I don't want to forget which lines I meant to keep when I come back to this tomorrow. Let's just have it go all the way off there instead of ending so close to the corner. Let's have it grow off beyond the corner. I'm trying to bring in this. There's a bit of angularity to the sunflower's leaves. I want to try to capture that because it's looking, this one coming forward looks so generic, and I think it's because I wasn't capturing that angularity. There. Well, less than a minute left now, so let's call it good for today. Give my poor back a break. And I can hold this up since I know it's not much to look at because of the blue pencil. I'm going to swipe off any extra eraser shavings first. But I'll hold this up now. Hopefully it's better visible holding it closer. Especially, I can't tell if my camera is focusing or not. Camera, did you focus, or are you also struggling because it's blue? What if I just only hold this up? Okay, I think that's focused. So here's where we got to today. Oh, if I hold it at an angle, it seems to help as well. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 sunflower heads drawn. And some leaves. And we've got some of the leaves added. So we're just filling in the environment, and then we shall place the griffins in. So we'll work more on this tomorrow, because I'll be back tomorrow. I drew a lot more details in this one. Then I realized, I don't really need to do that with the watercolor. So that's how you can tell this is the first one I drew. There's way more details in it. But it is closer than any other one. So yeah, hooray! I'm so glad to finally get onto this step with this project since it's been so long in the making. So many knot petals. That might be a better way to call them. Rays or knot petals with a dash, not dash petals. Well, okay. Yeah, I am just going to leave this here until tomorrow because I'm going to be back tomorrow, same time as usual, just picking right up where we left off, finishing off the environment, and then putting the griffins into the scene. So now it's time to see who's streaming and go raid them. Let me click Twitch. I'm opening Twitch on my phone. Oh, who should we go see? Shroomby is streaming, and we've never visited Shroomby before. Shroomby raided us last week. So maybe it would be nice to give a return raid. Because this is crazy. I've got 5 different art streamers streaming right now. That does not usually happen for me. I feel like I've been lucky if I have 2 or 1, I'm like, oh, thank goodness someone is streaming. And a few weeks ago, there was no one streaming. So I said that I was going to leave this exactly where it was, but I'm not because I got to get my keyboard out. And it's back here. So my deciding factor for who to stream among the many people who are live right now that I follow is returning the raid. It's a return raid. Okay. I gotta open a new instance of Twitch on Firefox so that I can be sure the raid actually worked. I wish it would give you just a little confirmation message when you do it from the creator dashboard, but it doesn't, so that's why I do it this way, because I want to be absolutely sure. Okay, raid, and how do we spell Shroomby? It's shrew, but the shrew part is O's. I mean, they're O's. It's zeros. And Shroomby. Alright, let's go see what Shroomby's up to. Alright, the raid is running. So that's it for today. I will be back tomorrow. I hope to see you then. Thank you for joining me. And let's go! Alright. Raid worked. So yep, like I said, I'll be back tomorrow. Same time as usual. Illustration once again. Hope to see you then, and thank you for watching.